Hey everyone, it's Lisa Regina. We're live at Heroic Episodes, and I have guests every week, veterans, actors, artists, advocates, and people with inspiring stories. And I'm streaming right now live, just making sure we're streaming to all the social medias, streaming to Heroic Episodes, social medias, and YouTube channel, and also streaming to Lisa Regina, social media and YouTube, and LinkedIn as well. For those friends that don't have social media, I know they have LinkedIn, but they don't have social media. Um, just waiting for my guest. I'm really honored tonight to have a retired United States Army Special Forces Master Sergeant Green Beret Brian Morris. Brian has over 25 years of service. He's a decorated combat veteran with whose tours in Afghanistan, multiple tours in Afghanistan, including missions in Africa, Bosnia, Kuwait, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, and other global hotspots. Brian is an expert survivalist and a former senior SEER instructor, training others to endure extreme conditions. He's also a published author. His books, Green Beret's Survival Guide and Green Beret Bushcrafting Guide. Brian overcame a life changing battle with cancer, and that led him to his new mission, uh, creating military folk art, beautiful handcrafted wood tributes to veterans, first responders, and law enforcement. Brian is a warrior, a survivor, an author, and an artist with purpose. Welcome, Brian Morris. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, just you're gonna have to get used to the dogs. I'm sorry.
I love dogs.
All right.
What
Well,
what's his name or her name?
yeah, it is. This is Bentley, and
Oh, I'm putting
that's
my glasses on.
okay.
Bentley.
That's Ranger down there. If you can see him.
Oh, Ranger. Ranger's going to sleep.
No, he just looks like that. He was born without eyes.
Oh,
Yeah,
sweet, very sweet. And this is Bentley sitting
this
on
is
your
Bentley.
lap. I love it.
Yeah,
He's beautiful.
yeah, he's a good dog.
My husband and I lost our dog in September, and man, it's so hard. It's so heartbreaking.
Oh,
Um,
sorry to hear that.
yeah, thank you. We miss Cosmo. Cosmo was a little bit crazy, he, but we loved him. He used to do that Tasmanian devil thing, run in
Oh yeah,
circles.
that's like Ranger. He sees ghosts. I think 'cause he's never seen anything. So he probably has a pretty vivid imagination. He,
Yes, yes. Well, I really appreciate you being here. I saw your military folk art. I reached out to you and you responded, and here we are. And I'm just so grateful because I think your work is beautiful and it's right in line with um, things that I do, which involve storytelling. And each piece tells a story. But after 25 years of service, what was that defining moment that led you to military folk art and carving these beautiful tributes?
yeah, wow, that could take a long time to explain that one, but you know, just in a nutshell, in, I was retired in 2012 and continued on contracting. Like a lot of my peers uh, in the special operations community, we get jobs working, and particular job I had was actually on Fort Bragg, and I got a phone call one day after having gone in for some tests, and it was my doctor, and he said, you need to go to either Duke or another big hospital in in North Carolina. He
Right.
named a couple of them, and he said, "But you need to like drop what you're doing right now, go there, tell your wife to meet you there." And it turned out that I had ended up with a rare form of leukemia, and I was in the hospital for like a year, just under a year, and there were some times where it was looking pretty grim, but I fought my way out of it. I went into remission, but there's you do a lot of damage to your body, when you do something like that. A lot of chemo,
Right.
and some things are not repaired. Sometimes the secondary and tertiary effects of cancer are worse than cancer. You know,
Yeah,
and
unfortunately,
that's
we've
kind of
had a
like, so. I mean, I couldn't really do the things that I was doing before. You can't really be a pipe hitter when you're going to your oncologist every week. And
right.
I had to find something that I liked, and I've always been kind of a crafty person. I wouldn't say an artist. More like just hands on. I like woodworking. I like you name it. Anything from welding to working with wood, working with glass. And things like that. Uh,
These are
I've always
beautiful.
have
Where do
interested
you
me. So yeah.
Yes. No, I love that. And I love that you found this, to put your energy into and to honor your fellow veterans and first responders, law enforcement. This is beautiful.
Well,
Where do you,
yeah.
where do you,
So I I, after getting out of the military, my life was so you know adrenaline packed at times, and times not. I mean, people will tell you that it was adrenaline the entire time, or just selling you a bag of crap. Because the truth is that no matter what, how close to the tip of the spear you are, there's always going to be downtime where it's just like sheer boredom. But with mixed with times of extreme adrenaline. So those
wow.
things happen too. So I mean, but usually it's a mixture of both things uh, when you're overseas.
So
But anyway, that
extreme
I
highs.
even
And
that. I'm sorry, say again.
I was going to say extreme highs, that adrenaline, and then nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Hmm.
and when when I got done with the military, and then I got done with contracting, there's like a void in your life, and you're looking for purpose. I feel like that was like my biggest low, is just what am I going to do? And I'm not the kind of person to like you know fester in that for too long. I'm gonna look for answers and ways to solve my
Sure.
my problems. So I I knew I needed to find some purpose, and I started going to the VA a lot. um and I think that's what kind of sparked the whole thing, was the VA. you know um I started going to the VA for my own medical reasons, but I'm meeting all these veterans, and I'm talking to all these
Right.
veterans, and I realize, the sacrifices that a lot of these guys have done, and I have friends. It's crazy. Like, I made one for a friend of mine. This guy had, like, I mean, there's nobody can compete with this guy. He had every award you can possibly think of.
Wow.
Every, just everything you think of. Scuba, Halo, Jumpmaster, everything you could think
Right.
of, he
That
had, right?
required a big
And
slab of wood, right?
oh yeah, it's a really big slide. But the point is, like, he had nothing. Like, this guy, his family, his kids were at an age where they wanted to know about his service. And
Sure.
honestly, like, I don't even know if because I go through a really deep dive with these guys when I make these plaques, as far as like every single school they went to, every single deployment they went on,
Wow.
any all their losses, anybody that they lost, whether it was KIA or KIT or you know, unfortunately by their own hand or something like that. Those
Right.
things are all.
Do you meet
I get
with
all that on there. It's very personal.
It is very personal, and that was my question, like, since it's so personal, how do you meet with them on Zoom, and then you have a meeting first and go through their story of service?
Yeah, it all starts off with a phone call. Usually, actually starts with a text because I don't take if I
Yeah,
see like a number and there's nobody attached to it, I'm not going to answer it.
I'm
So the
going to
best
put
way to
that up there, Brian. That's
yeah, the
that's
best way
the
to
number.
get me is to text me
Okay.
or email me. One of those two
Yes.
things. If you text me or you email me, and then we'll set up a time to talk, right?
Yes.
And that's all.
I
I just
love
want I
that.
just we talk, and basically, um, after we get done talking, I have them send me a DD-214, which is are you familiar with that form?
I am, because our
Okay,
veterans drone training program, part of our interview process, that's where it starts with the DD 214 and an
outstanding.
application. Yes.
Okay, so I get their DD-214.
Yes.
I get all the pertinent information about deployments and all the things that aren't on a DD-214, but still you did in the military. A
Right.
lot of times if you do some of the things that we do, there's no like um, tab for it or a pin that you can put on your uniform that says that you did that. So like if you went and did winter survival training for 6 months in Alaska,
Oh my God.
there's nothing that says that. So I try to put those kind of details into my artwork so that that I try to capture all those moments of a guy's career so
Yes.
that it does tell a story so that he can tell those stories, or when he's gone, I want it to be able to tell a story for itself so
Yeah.
that people remember all the sacrifices that these guys make in
And
the
when
military.
and when it's finished, I'm sure when their family sees that visual story, it probably really blows their mind, because some of them, they probably don't know about a lot of their service, right? And they reveal it in that beautiful work of art. To me, it's a work of art. I love
Yeah,
it.
thank you, I appreciate that. I mean, I honestly, like, I've always thought, because I to me, like, very technical. um I don't know, I don't consider myself an artist per se,
Mhm.
but like I think it is artwork, and the important thing about it is not me. I don't want anybody to ever look at it and go, "Oh wow, that's really a beautiful piece of art that Brian Morris did." I'd rather they say, "Wow, that's really a beautifully represents whoever I made it for," and I want them to think of that person, and,
Yes.
and their service. I want it to tell a story about what that person did, um,
And it
in his time
does.
of service, and it could be a guy that was in for 2 years. I've done plaques for guys that were in for 2 years, and I've done plaques for guys that were in for 35 years. So
Wow.
it doesn't matter. I can do one for anybody and for any amount of time. If you did honorable service, and it's not, I don't just do for the military, although that is like my specialty, I would say, just because I spent so many years in the service,
Right.
and that's my background. So like I'm letting all those soldier of the month boards I went to when I was in E5 and E6 pay off, with all these little factoids about, because I got to make sure everybody's awards are exactly right. I mean, it's like
Right.
being I, I finally got to be act like a sergeant major. I was never a sergeant major. Now don't ever post that. I was a master sergeant. But
Now, where
yeah,
do you get the wood? I know that you live on 15 acres in North Carolina.
yeah, North Carolina.
Uh-huh. So do you
Mostly
get
for
the
my property. I love cedar, and we just happen to be
So do
fortunate
I.
enough to have a ton of cedar here.
Wow.
Um, I love walnut, and we have a lot of walnut, and I love oak, and we have a lot of oak. So those are the three that I tend to sway towards, just because
Yes.
they're available to me all the time.
That's
And
awesome.
I mill it here, I kiln it here, I dry it here, and I sand it down, process it, and it becomes the it's what I like, my canvas, you would say.
Yeah, that is your canvas.
Yeah.
Um, how long does it typically take? I mean, I guess it depends on the amount of words and the length of
Typically,
service.
yeah, typically it takes about it, it takes longer for me to get to you than it does for me to finish, if that makes sense. I have a lot of people on my list, but usually, if you called me today, within 4 weeks, I would have it back to you, and
That's
shipping is
awesome.
and free shipping.
Free shipping. So
So
we have
yeah,
some comments up here. I want to just read to you, Brian. Pamela Arnell from 220 organization. She's also on my board. She says, I love it. Thank you for your service. And Uncle Vince, my Uncle Vince loves carving canes. He does beautiful wood canes. And he's saying it's so great that we put this conversation together. And he wants he's just thanking you, and I think it's awesome. I'm thinking about this the stories that you tell through this wood carving, this military folk art, as you call it. And I was looking on YouTube at all your videos, and some of them are really detailed. As you finish this and you send it to a veteran, do you feel that seeing that in front of them telling their story, do you think it's healing for them? Do you think it's empowering or healing?
I really do believe that. I think, you know, there's a lot of different techniques out there for PTSD, but
Yes.
one of them is called EMDR, which is where you like you whether it's in your mind or out loud, you go through the traumatic process in your head, every little detail of it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I've
So
I've, I've
so
read
I
about
kind
it.
of look
I've
at it like
never been through
and I'm not saying I'm a doctor or I'm doing EMDR for anybody, but
it.
I think it does help because it brings back a lot of memories for guys, and I think that from my own experience that you know going through traumatic experiences and letting your head process that
Yes.
before you lock it away is really important to
Yes.
do.
And I
Beyond just the fact that it tells a story, but you know, so yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And I just really truly believe storytelling in any medium is healing. And Dr. Pamela Arnell from 220, their approach is really wonderful. It doesn't cost the veterans a dime. It does not get reported to the VA, so it doesn't impact their rating at all. I went through the process at the 220 with Dr. Arnell, and because I still had some anxieties from my assault back in 2005, and in no way trying to compare domestic violence to war,
No,
but we
I
all have.
listen. Trauma is trauma. It's not.
Yes.
I think I think that if these things can benefit other people for their experiences in life and help them process them and get through them and get to a peaceful place in their mind, then I'm all
Amen.
for it. So
Amen. Me too.
yeah,
Yes, absolutely. And she really helped me, just the Zoom sessions that we went through. Um, and I never had to recall my incident in detail. We just went through. It's a very, very comforting
yeah. There's a
approach.
big.
Very,
I
mhm.
should mention that there is a big. And I'm not by any means an expert in this, but there's a large spectrum of you know uh, techniques within EMDR. I
Yes.
definitely have seen that.
Yeah, and I'm even working with Dr. Joshua Cohen, who is doing healing through film and TV. It's film and
I
video
wonder if we're
based.
related.
Oh yeah,
My mother's maiden name's Cohen, so
Cohen. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
he's on the West Coast. He's amazing. His book is film and video based therapy, and I have contributed a chapter to that book. And it's a collaborative effort. This book. It's a lot of different approaches to trauma, And I think whatever works, and sometimes you might have to try a couple different approaches, but I'm just,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm just really grateful to be here, right? Every
Absolutely. I'm glad you're safe and that you're able to get help.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And I think, it's funny how sometimes things like that are what really bond us and create friendships. And that's how I started really expanding my advocacy work, because I met retired Army Captain Leslie Nicole Smith back in 2012. And she's legally blind. She's an amputee as a result from her service in the Army. She was in Bosnia and she was exposed to something that almost took her life and took her sight and her leg. But she's an amazing, positive human being that I just bonded with. We became solid friends and we shared our experiences and we shared some of the struggles and some of the challenges. And that's what really bonded me, a civilian, with a veteran, and really started to teach me a lot about veterans and their lives and their service and their families. And, you know, I always ask this question because I'd like to hear what you have to say about what would you like civilians to understand? Like maybe there's something they don't understand that really comes up a lot that you would like us to understand
I think
or to know. Yeah.
yeah, no, I guess you know there's definitely a disconnect, I would say. I think I think that a lot of people, when it comes to service, you always see people come and they say, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
And and that's great. And thank you. I appreciate that. And I always say I it, thank my wife, you know. I was off saving the world and she was raising our three kids and 20 dogs, you know. So
Yes.
um that was a very very hard thing to put on one person. While
Absolutely.
I had massive amounts of support my entire time in the military, even when I was in the most remote and austere places on Earth,
Hmm.
I still, within a couple hours, could be in a trauma center somewhere, you know, because I had so many people supporting me in the military, throughout my career and all the different things that I did. But
Yes.
when you're a spouse of a military person, you have nothing. You think about it. Like there's no fame, right? You don't get any kind of cool awards or
No, they're
anything. You
behind
don't
the
get.
scenes. They're
There's
behind
no.
the scenes, right?
Yeah. That's why we say the hardest job in the army is an army wife, right?
Yes, I hear
So
that a lot, and I've spoken to and interviewed military spouses and the children, and yeah, that's a hard gig. You're at home, you're
it
holding it
is.
together
It's traumatic, just in its
for
own
them.
right. To
Yes,
to have to deal with all that. It's like being an instant single mother.
I
And
can't
I would get
imagine.
called up sometimes, in some of the jobs that I had in the military, like I had to be on call, you know, at, at any time during the day. They could just call
Right.
me, and
Yeah,
I could be gone for a year.
geez.
You
And
know.
and and I'm sure there were times where your wife couldn't talk to you, couldn't get in touch
Oh
with you.
yeah. Oh
That would
yeah.
be
Yeah. Yeah.
difficult,
We had to
really.
have like code words. We
Yes.
had our own like language. It's funny. Like we still kind of use it, but um, you know, it yeah, it's very
Just fine.
difficult. Obviously, OPSEC, loose lips sink ships. Like you can't tell your wife that you're going to be gone away from a telephone for 6 weeks or something
Sure.
like that, or however long your mission's going to be. Especially in Afghanistan was like that, and I know Iraq's the same way. Um, a lot
I
anything
just
having
put
to do like the GWAT op tempo was kind of like that.
sure.
It kind of had its own vibe. I have a cool perspective because I was a Cold War guy, I came in 1986, but I didn't retire until 2012. So I got to live the Cold War experience, and then 9/11 happened, and then our life changed. And that's what I was. Those years, those were like the most fundamental years of my kids' lives. If you think about
Sure.
it, you're talking, little kids. Little league, wrestling, whatever, all those things. You miss all that kind of stuff.
You miss it all.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the spouse. That's what I would want people to know about the military. Is that take care of those
Absolutely.
spouses, because there's just there's no uh there's no bright side to that job.
That's a tough one. And
Yeah,
Pamela Arnell, Dr. Arnell, who I was talking about, she just shared a comment here. Jerome always said he wished he had a nickel for every time someone said thank you, but they didn't really understand what serving meant. And just to give you some insight, she lost her husband Jerome, who served in the army and was exposed to the burn pits, and he passed away from cancer. So she truly knows what it means to be a military spouse and to suffer that loss. And she's an amazing lady. She's on my board for A Right to Heal. She's the executive director of 220. Really amazing lady. I would love for you to meet her. And also, Scott Purdy says it's great that you found this purpose that helps so many people, including yourself. Thank you. So just wanted you to.
yeah, I totally agree with that. That it is very, very cathartic for me. It's crazy. Like, um, when I finish a piece, it's like I have it's not like a ritual, but like I have to like just kind of cleanse my mind. It's like I go so deep into these guys' lives, and some of it's really, really personal.
I'm
I,
sure.
I did a plaque for a guy who went to sick call, not sick call, but he, he had something wrong with his foot. So he went to the medic, and the medic's like, "All right, you're not going on this mission." His whole platoon went down in a helicopter and died. Every single one of them.
Oh my God.
34 guys.
Oh my God.
And I mean, think about how traumatic that is. It's like all 34 of your best friends in 1 second,
I
bam,
can't
gone.
imagine. Gone. Just
And he's the only guy in the platoon that didn't, and so that imagine like survivor guilt, that this guy's going through, But I was
I
able to
can't.
put like a little memorial, and I got all 34 initials in it, and
Oh,
it was pretty cool looking.
beautiful.
But
So
it was a
you're
good
as
tribute to those guys, and I feel like I hope it helped him, to process
yes.
that a little bit.
Yes. So as you're that thanks for sharing that, and that's tragic, and it's just unimaginable what he survives every day, right? And you going through the journey, sort of the journey that he went on as you're carving it and telling his story. I'm sure it's emotional for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I said, it's like a just a massive amount of like it's like you're taking on that person's whole military career, or experience, I should say. It's not
Yes,
necessarily a career, right? But just whatever they're, there's a lot of emotion in that, and it's you have to kind of
absolutely.
like wash it off when you're done.
I
Take
can
a
I
hot
can
shower.
Yeah, Brian, I can share with you something about acting. When you're portraying a character that, is a very emotional, very heavy, heavy experience. Um, it's sort of like after you're done, whether it's a film or a stage play or whatever it is, where you're portraying this character that's pretty intense and that has extreme, maybe traumatic moments or dramatic moments, afterwards to do a cleansing or to do something to get out of that. We used to do some interesting acting exercises to kind of, exactly like you said, to release it and kind of cleanse afterwards. It's so important, and I really I think it's beautiful that they trust you with their stories, and it makes sense that they would because of your over 25 years of service. So I
Yeah, I mean
appreciate you
that's
sharing
definitely
that.
something that like, and I sort of kind of meant to say that earlier, but I there's a kinship, between all people that serve. There's something,
Yes.
there's 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 a trust that's you have to do something to take away. Does that make sense? Like you
Yeah.
going,
Yes.
you go in already with a check mark of trust
Yes.
just for being a veteran. And the other thing is, and I was going to say this earlier, is and also I also feel like anybody that is in a job of service, and I would include like law enforcement and first responders, and even like emergency room people that are there at your absolute worst moment in life.
Right.
Those people too. So anybody like that lives a life of service, I feel like we're all kind of cut from the same cloth. Even nurses, are kind of cut from the
Yes.
same cloth.
Hmm. It
You see
makes
where I'm going with that? So like
yes.
and they usually appreciate these things. So I've been doing them for also police officers. I've done them for a bunch of police officers, nurses. I did one for EMT. Um, I've done a few for a bunch of cops. So yeah, definitely
You've
cut from the same cloth and appreciate the same kind of stuff. Plus,
yes.
we all like little trinkets and stuff, like
And I
wearing a
think you
uniform.
I think you all have the same sense of humor. Sometimes it's dark.
We yeah, everybody in the military, I
Most
feel like
times it's dark.
definitely a dark sense of humor, and
Yeah.
um, definitely it's a test in a way. Like we test each other kind of to see like how thick your skin is, because like
Yeah.
most guys, especially like in combat arms units, it's and it takes all kind. I always say like for every operator, for every whether you're an infantryman or a ranger or a green beret or you're in Delta Force or wherever,
Yes.
whatever you do out there, that's on that spear, whether you're at the very tip or you're in the back of it. If you're on that spear, the shaft of that spear has at least 11 soldiers, sailors, airmen, marines, whatever, to support that one combat arms guy.
Wow.
So if you think about that, for every one combat arms guy, it takes like 11 guys to keep you fed, beans, bullets, everything you need, getting flown from A to B, uh,
Wow.
medicine, taking care of your owies, all that stuff. It takes
Right.
a lot of people. You're not just out there living on the economy. Some
Right.
people might be. I don't take that away. I know there's plenty of secret squirrels out there doing all kinds of wacky stuff. But for
We
the
have a
most part, you know,
yes. I
we're,
want to
we're
read
very
you
well
this.
taken care of because we're supported by so many different people of different jobs. But in the combat arms and any job, I feel like that's dangerous, or any job where there's the more dangerous the job, it seems like the darker the sense of humor.
Yeah.
I've noticed. The more risk, because humor is a way to release stress.
Yes.
I've always believed that.
Yeah,
Forever.
we went to a fundraiser, Laughter Saves Lives, and it's a firefighter in New York City who lost all his firefighters, and they're using humor as a way to release that pain and to heal, and laughter is definitely healing. And Frank Sean Johnson here, United States Air Force, says, Brian, your service may be the only sermon someone understands. God's work, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Nice. Yeah, I love the camaraderie, Brian. And I don't know if you know that I've had veterans on my film set. I think I might have shared that with you. And that's when I met retired Army Captain Leslie Nicole Smith and cast her in one of my films. Then from that, she expressed to me that she loved being on the film set. She grabbed my hand. She was overjoyed. I mean, I could still see her face, her eyes. She was lit up. And she said, I love this, being on this film set. It's the camaraderie I miss so much. So then the next few films, I had veterans on as cast, as crew. They loved it. They all felt the same way, and everything that you're saying makes total sense because, being on set, it's you have that camaraderie. Everyone has their role. Everyone has a very specific skill set, and then you work
That's why they
together
say.
for one
That's why they
mission.
say misery loves company. Right?
But we're not getting shot at and we're not in danger. So huge difference there, but same
Yeah, but I mean, you find
camaraderie.
these. If you went out to like a an
Whoops, we're losing Brian. You froze.
there you are.
You there? Yeah, yeah, a little bit of
You there?
disconnect there. I'm here. Right here. You froze a little bit,
Hello.
but hello, hello. There you go, Brian. We got you.
I got you now.
Yes,
Okay. Where
you're
were
in.
we?
We were talking
Uh.
about the camaraderie and how similar on a film
Oh yeah.
set, but a lot safer, of course, and just comparing that
Yeah. No, I was
camaraderie.
saying, if you anytime people are experiencing, shared misery, it it's going to bring them tighter together.
Together.
That's the bottom line. It doesn't matter whether you're on an oil rig as a deep sea diver, or
Yeah,
on the moon, or you know in a foxhole, or a cockpit. You know,
right.
it,
You're going to
it's
bond.
yeah, you're going to bond. So
Definitely going to bond. Brian, is there anything else you'd like to share? I know in your email to me you had shared that you support a nonprofit. Did you want to share that and why that's important to you?
yeah, it's still kind of a raw topic, but it's a very important. It's a very important organization, and I just want people to know, especially veterans, because it's such a high percentage of veterans that are that 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 are taking their own lives. You know,
Yes.
um, and I feel like if there's something that we can do to reach out to somebody in their time of need, then we need to do it. And there's organizations out there that are doing a phenomenal job in reaching out to people that need their help and getting them the help that they need.
Yes.
Mental health is incredibly important, and people take it for granted. There's a huge stigma of it in the military because we all have, especially in my former career, I have a top secret SCI clearance. I still have one. So I mean, everything that we do is scrutinized, and you worry about it, so you don't want to go and seek help
Right.
and get medication or whatever, counseling. There's so many
Support.
different things that you can do to help out there, and these organizations, the one that I personally like
Hmm.
to support is, if I can say that, is
Sure. Yeah.
SSS, Stop Soldier Suicide.
Okay.
um you can look them up, ssfs.com.
Dot
uh
com.
I think it's .com. Ooh,
Might be
jeez.
.org, I think.
It might be because it is a 501c.
Yeah,
uh
501c3.
yeah, but yeah, so definitely check that out. It's but there's another organization, the Special Operations Warrior Foundation is also another great one, for another reason, which is that um they have always supported uh soldiers that die in training as well as in combat, and that's so important because a lot of guys have really really dangerous jobs, really dangerous jobs.
Sure.
I was on a Halo team. I mean, you're jumping from like crazy altitudes. You got buku equipment on. You got oxygen. It's nighttime. You got,
Is
what I mean. You got a
is
weapon
this your
strapped onto you. You're
one
you're
of these?
falling. You're free falling
Yeah.
for. for thousands of feet
Oh my God.
in the
I,
dark.
I could
So
never
many
do
things
it.
can happen, and so many people lose their life that way. People don't realize that. A lot of guys, if you look at it statistically, I mean, there's it's too many. But the point is, and it's not just jobs like that, but I mean, I'm talking like pilots and, um, EOD guys and Green Berets and SEALs and all these other guys that are doing all these jobs.
I'm sure we don't hear about a lot of them too that get injured
Right.
or killed in training.
No,
Yes.
you'll never hear about it. And
Right.
there's no like, there's so many things. Like if you get wounded in combat or you get killed in combat, your family, your survivors, they're taken care of in a lot of
Right.
ways that they're not taken care of if
In
you're killed in
training.
training.
Yeah.
And we
Oh,
lose a lot of guys in training, over the years. I mean, that too many,
too
too many
many.
people that I know have lost their life that way. And I'm sure a lot of guys in my field can say the same thing.
I'm
Usually you
sure.
can count. Unfortunately, it's like those are the three big things. So I mean, killed in combat, killed in training,
Right.
and taking your own life and
Taking
suicide.
your own life.
But
Yeah.
those are
And
the things. And the Special Operations Warrior Foundation, they will look after those families that aren't taken care of in a lot of ways for guys that died in combat. If that so
yeah, I
that's why I
appreciate you
like that
sharing that.
organization. And I always tell people, if you want to give to an organization and you just don't know who, because you hear all these stories,
You have to be
and I know
careful.
that I can tell you that the SSS and the Special Operations Warrior Foundation, both of those are, I think it's like 98% or something. You can check it out on the web, but like the
Nice.
vast majority of money goes
Goes to the
to the
cause.
purpose of those
Yeah.
organizations, and not
Yeah.
to
No
go
high admin
having a
fees or
party in
anything.
Hawaii.
Yes.
For
Yes. I'm putting your banner up again here with your website and your email, and your number has been up there. If anyone is wants to reach out to Brian Morris about his wooden military art, the wooden tributes that he hand carves and tells the story of each veteran's service. They're amazing. I just want everyone to have your email there, take a look at. Beautiful. That's just one. If you go on YouTube, Brian has a ton of videos there. It's amazing. That's how we
funny,
connected.
that
And
picture's not even one of them. That's just it's a sign that I made for a third group, but it is a general. It's one of my pieces for sure, but it's not telling the story of somebody's career. You know what I mean? That would
yes.
be like, the one behind me. You can probably see my own personal one up there.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. I do see it right over your head. That one looks
Yeah,
very detailed.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I think also on YouTube you have a lot of videos that show us what you go through the process, which is really cool. I love them, and I think that it's definitely worth checking out. I'm trying to pull one up right now. Um, is there anything else you want to share with us tonight before we wrap out? And again, I'm just so happy that you responded to me and made time.
No, no, just it was really nice talking to you, and your guests had great questions. I appreciate that, and yeah. So remember, military wife, shake their hand, thank them for their service when you see one, or a spouse, I should say. I want to be
Military
politically
spouse.
correct. Okay.
Yes. Here's one. Here's one. I'm just going to see if I could do this. I don't know if I could share it. I don't think I can, but there's so many videos on YouTube. I hope everyone checks out Military Folk Art by Brian Morris. Brian, I'm so glad that you made time for us. And hang on after we wrap. Don't go anywhere. I want to talk to you after we end this live stream. But
Sure.
I know you hear it a lot. Thank you for your service, but I'm truly grateful for your service, and so much so for all our veterans that over the past over 12 years, I've been interviewing military men and women, all branches of service, all wars, and their spouses and their families, and I've been adapting their stories to a narrative TV series, and I'm still writing it. And I'm just truly inspired by the amount of veterans that are entrepreneurs, humanitarians. They return home, they continue to serve their communities, and they never boast about it. They never talk about it. It's just how you're built. And I love that. And I really respect that. And really grateful for your service, because you did what I could not do, and a lot of other people that I know could not do. You're a small percentage that serve, and we're very grateful for you, and just wanted to thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all my veteran brothers and sisters out there, first responders, police, cops, all you guys. Thank you. Anybody that lives a life of service and
Yes.
a life to be for something bigger than yourself, and for others, so that others can sleep peacefully at night. I have a lot of respect for you.
Amen. Definitely. I agree with that, and that's a wonderful way to end our night. Thank you, everyone, for joining in, and we'll see you next Thursday, 7 p.m. live at Heroic Episodes. My guest will be Colt Romberger. He's a United States Air Force. He has over a decade in law enforcement. He is the president of Expedition Orange, which is a tribute to his late father who served in Vietnam. And he also has some pretty interesting TV and film credits. So we'll have a great conversation next week with Colt Romberger. Thank you again, Brian, for joining us, and really, really appreciate you. Thank you. Hang tight. Good night, everyone.